mostly you gotta know and remember that Jesus is not a God. Oh, the air conditioner. I wasn't the air conditioner fan. Okay, Dad must be working on the box for the air conditioner next door. Shit. I wish I could help him. I can't even stand up for 2 minutes at a time. I can't. It's the way the prostate feels and everything like that. I probably will go to the hospital, and then we'll see where things go from there. I have talks with Jesus, and Jesus says, Earl, there's no sense in taking the spirit of the Messiah and letting him be, insidiously tortured by inferior, selfish people, and see it as something that's, desirable. And I'm like, that's true. If you have to go to to the hospital, and they end up having to euthanize you because they've poisoned you so insidiously, like they did Pascal and Sun Yat-sen and so forth. That's something you may just have to do because it doesn't show like they show every time. The whole you get yourself feeling better, and then they fuck you again, and then it's been this way my whole life with these horrible, disgusting people, and so you can't. You can't expect anything good out of them. You can't expect anything virtuous or righteous or intelligent or loving or kind. They're always inventing something and doing some kind of an adventure because they get bored with life. Like if you need to do something, you'll get it done. You'll do it. And if you don't need to do it, don't do it. Especially nuclear weapons, declaring war, building factories that make you a successful person at being destructive to your own planet, your own species, and your own time on your own planet for being a species. God dang this! Fuck, this sucks. I don't want to fuck with this thing. I don't want to fuck with this thing. I don't care. It says I don't have internet on the Google TV thing, and I'm like, I don't give a shit right now. I really don't care. I'm just going to lay down and see how I feel, and it doesn't seem to be. Shit. I hate abuse. It's connected successfully, so it's back together again. It's fucking, what's the name of that? We're all haggard together again. Is that who's saying that? I think so. But, so, even if you pass away and then they genome sequence you enough to where they're not pretty sure, they're certain who you are, and they take you and they plug your brain into a robot to have you in which they conceive as complete control so they can rule the planet. They don't have any problems with you and are constantly trying to control you because of your influence you have on all thoughts, words, and actions globally. They're still going to do it. There's not, you can sit there and, okay, when a pervert, has a vulnerable baby and is going to plug that baby into a computer because the pervert is jealous of that baby and wants to manipulate that baby to manipulate others. Okay, if there's enough perverts, like what Jesus did with the Roman Empire, you're not going to be able to stop them from being perverts. The only way to stop them from being perverts is to get them to understand the truth and then behave in that manner. And if you can't get them to understand the truth, fighting them and killing them is not going to do a damn bit of good. Okay, they have to, Jesus with the Romans, I'm here to circumcise their hearts. I'm not here for a bloody revolution. I'm not here to win the war. I'm here to stop the war by helping them understand eternity. And they're so fucked up. They're so selfish. They're so narcissistic. They're so self-centered. Always wearing their goddamn designer clothes and smiling for the fucking camera. And you're just like, serious fuckingly? What do you think you are, a dollar bill? Fuck. You're such assholes, and they are. And so, I like the thing here. If I do have to go to the hospital, and they do look at things, being compounded, first of all, the chemical poisoning, and they euthanize me. I tell anybody else who knows me, don't get in a fucking plane or a car and drive all the way here to, tease your conscience and stuff. That's just fucking stupid. You're going to fuck up the ecosystem. You're going to do things irrationally. It's going to cause you economic distress because they will fuck you with money. Okay. If you want to do anything to honor my existence, stand up for the Lord's Prayer, damn it. But Dad, I'm Jesus Christ. So, oh fuck. But don't hear it come around here because everybody expects you to put on some kind of heathen hypocrite show, verily I say unto you, when you pray, don't do it like the heathen and hypocrite crew. So they say, oh, well, you did, he was crazy and he was a bad person, but you showed up to say goodbye because you're a good person. Really, stand up for the Lord's Prayer. Okay? I want to fucking hear it. Life's eternal, grace is infinite. You really think I'm going to sit there and go, oh, yeah, I'm so proud of you for doing that? Fuck that shit. Okay, I love people, but I'm not going to put up with their abuse and their bullshit, I love my wives, but I'm not, we're not together because they abused me. Not because, let's say irreconcilable differences or anything like that. The modern society, as we have it, okay, makes marriage and family into an absolute mockery. Okay. The only way you can have some kind of a dysfunctional show of having a family that's not an absolute mockery would be someone that has to be either have to try to go to, if you all agree to it, go to Pennsylvania or somewhere and bomb yourself back into the 1800s and call yourself Amish, right? Which is insane because you're hiding in the past, and your present is totally fucked, and you're not doing a damn thing to help people not be fucked. You're just thinking of yourself, and you're pretending you're in the 1800s living the good Christian life. It's like, no, you're not. Why? Because in the 1800s, people would come along and have the Civil War, and that would affect you. And people would come along, and Native Americans would come along angry because they were being displaced and abused and stuff like that. So you have, you live in this Amish thing, you get out in the things you still have to do with people that would come along and predicate upon you, to try to steal from you and stuff like that. But you probably, you have to call the police or you will be incarcerated, right? So you're not living in the 1800s. You need to quit acting like that. You need to quit being a self-righteous hypocrite, doing things to make yourself, verily I say unto you, when you pray, do it in private. Don't do it like the hypocrite and the heathen do. They're always putting on a show. I'm the most, I'm closer to God. I'm closer to God. God's omniscient, omnipotent. Just live the Lord's Prayer, you little putz. Faith of Psalms, wisdom of Proverbs. Hallelujah, right? So, and that's where you get it, and you just have to get people to understand, because marriages suck, man. The women have independence, like the men that used to all cheat on their wives and beat their wives. The women turn around and do the worse now than they've ever done before, okay? And throughout time, because of violent sex cult activity, it's not like it's been real easy to keep women, from using sex to manipulate men and feel powerful doing it. And so it's not like this is a new phenomenon. It's like this has just happened ever since we invented the fucking automobile and the fucking airplane, right? So it sucks. It's absolutely hideous. People don't have any meaningful conversations. They don't have any meaningful relationships. Back in the old days and stuff like that, we have all this stuff. Okay, in Adam and Eve's time, when you get to a point where you can be, like, look at points of of ancient Japan before it got too feudal. It's hard because there's always an asshole waiting around the bend, lingering around the bush, coming up with an invention with a bunch of other assholes to feel powerful and manipulative, put together a big army, invent gunpowder, blow you up with cannons. It sucks, and you're just like, what the fuck what do humans do? How can we get humans, okay, to understand not to be such fucking stupid assholes like this? It's stupid, 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 stupid. And these poor kids stuck in, what's called success because they're making lots of money selling products. And you forgive, debt, trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace. You won't have to do that. And these people, they get up, they get in boats and airplanes, and they fly around the planet following these millionaires that are endorsed by billionaires, and they put on these colors of flagpole rags and war songs, and they sing these songs proudly of these people that say they own the land, put together the land, and then murder in the name of that land and that flagpole rag, and it's crazy. Okay. They isolate themselves, they name themselves, they have different coded languages to make sure that you fit in the group, and if you're not part of the group, what are you doing here? Stimulating your economy, dumbass. Okay. So it's nuts. They become so tribal, secular, and insular. If you show up there and you're not part of their group, they're rude to you, they're vicious to you, they're selfish, they're mean. It's like, let's just live the Lord's Prayer. It applies in physics and all symbols that come out of your face that make, you know what I mean? And so, but man, this is horrible. So, this doesn't seem to be getting any better. And if I can't get any results here, settle past lunch and stuff like that, I guess I probably will go into the hospital. And so you guys won't hear from me for a while because I don't think I'll have Wi-Fi in there. I'll take my phone with me, but you won't hear from me for a while. And then if you don't hear from me again, you'll know that bad things were happening to my body, and the medical industry helped finish me off. Well, what they got things to do. They got money to make and people to kill. It's a medical industry. It's not a healthcare system, guys. Healthcare is being a truthful person that is a faithful lover, okay, does not believe that money is real, does not engage in competition and the conflict that is caused by that invention of money and the delusion of human ownership and stuff like that. So no, it's a medical industry. It's not a healthcare system. The system is not healthy, and the people do not care. They pretend to care because it makes them look like they're godly. We're taking this child that's living in a cesspool of toxins and stress, and we're bombarding it with radiation to assimilate to the toxins and stress. And then we're saying we're giving them more life. Yeah, but a dog could figure that one out, right? But apparently a dog can't explain it to you. No. Have somebody come and, and throw vinegar with paper towels at my face, say you peed at me. I had peed on the cat door on the garage, by the cat door on the garage to keep the raccoons out. Didn't pee on it directly, but by the side on the wall there. Just pee on it. Then you wash it off, yeah, but you leave it on there to keep the coons out. Now I just closed it up so I don't have the coons and the skunks going in there causing any problems. Because they're awfully ballsy. Yeah, they really are. Yeah. What do you expect? This is Las Cruces. They feel empowered. They have a bunch of, they have virtual presence of the most manipulative perverts in the world, and so they feel like they can do anything. I would do anything. Is that your Chewy box? Yeah. I know what kind of horrible people I'm dealing with, and I know how, just dysfunctional and vile and horrible they are, But the thing about it is I know that most people are not as horrible and vile as the people that they're manipulated by. Okay. They're just distracted and superficial. And it's part of their biological and psychological conditioning. And it's getting worse because of the extensive capacity to manipulate the human mind by the selfish and the disgusting. And so, I mean, a dog could figure that out too. It's like let's get out of here, Scoob. Okay, Raggy. Right. So it sucks. I just don't feel me getting any better. I think I just might go down to the little hospital down on the corner and let them run a battery test on me and be completely uncomfortable until further notice. No, I'm not afraid of dying, and I'm not afraid of being, John McCain. We could make sure that your molecular similitude is born in a hut in Ethiopia, starving on the ground. I was like, yeah, I imagine you fucking could. I imagine you fucking could. That would be as miserable as this. Yeah, so you die feeling this way, and then you're born. You're sharing memories with someone that's born, and it's just as worse, if not miserable. The malnutrition that old little Crummy was born with. Because old Yorga was trying to talk her into miscarrying the baby. It's such an ass. Yeah, she didn't have any milk and stuff like that, and it wreaked havoc on Amy's birth body. And I did everything I could, to get food in her. I kept getting compliments at work to get little coupons and stuff for Golden Corral, and put Katie in the thing and buy a pizza for Noah and Emily, and Noah and Nate, and Emily, who'd stay at home and play video games with the pizza, and then go down and just feed Amy and take Kate, because she little, don't want the other kids to be responsible for little, because they can all, they were all older, and Natalie was old enough to watch them, so how it goes. And so you don't want too much responsibility on them. You want kids that are able to go to the bathroom, do the things, not get into stuff that they know they shouldn't, that kind of stuff. Parenting, it's been this way for a long time, even before we got coupons at Golden Corral. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Fuck. Remember my goofy ass self-righteous sisters when we moved here from Amy leaving, and my sisters tell me, Natalie shouldn't have to be responsible. She's just young. She shouldn't have to have any responsibility for the kids. And I'm like, because all of them have always had a couple doing the thing. I was the first one being single, doing it. And, I was like, you guys had to do it. Mom and Dad had to both work. Poncha, Linda, and Jerry watched us, things like that. There's nothing wrong with, 12s and 13-year-olds having to, help carry this responsibility for the other kids. What if mom died from the cholera or the flu? You know what I mean? That's just the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. You guys are being shitheads. Yeah, they've done that to me a lot. Yeah, it's like the military here. You call them on their bullshit, and the scientists, you call them on their bullshit. You prove it to them beyond any reasonable doubts. And then instead of going, thank you, God, that is so cool. I want to love children and love families and have, precious time to do things that are intelligent, not selfish and aggressive and, oppressive and violent and all that. No, they try to teach you a lesson. If I didn't fuck you with this, someone else would fuck you with this. Okay, that's like the kids I told at lockup that were, so, Mr. Parsons, if I didn't sell drugs, somebody else would do it. It's like, that's ridiculous. That's like saying if you didn't rape the dog, someone else would do it. And we all know that's complete horseshit. Dogs are sweethearts. And if you feed them meat too late at night, they bark at everything that moves to say, hey, I'm earning my meat. And you're like, oh, goddamn, what did I do? Okay, do not feed the dog meat after certain amounts of time. You stand up on the, yeah. You get mad. I used to get mad. You jerk, I gave you this and that. And he wasn't being inconsiderate. He was up earning his chow. Okay, I'll make sure that you're okay. You sleep. You gave me meat. I'm like, oh, shit, I didn't see that. Because I don't think like a dog. I thought, just go to sleep now. And then for the longest time, it had to where, when we slept, I'd sleep over in that corner with all the windows open and that window open. And over here where Zeke slept near the couch, I would have to close up all these and close the blind stuff so he couldn't hear or see anything to wake us up in the middle of the night barking at whatever was out there. And then occasionally he would hear something out that way, and then he would, and it's like, oh shit. I'd look at the raccoon or whatever and say, get the hell out of here, you're waking the dog. You little menace. Gotta name you Dennis. All right. Oh man, this is funny. But yeah. Old Zeke. Yeah. Memories. Like the corners of my mind. Misty watercolor memories of the way we were. Yeah. Poor old Zeke, yeah, when he was passing away. I didn't have the money to take him down to, I talked to Dad about it a couple of times, but I didn't have the money to take him down to the vet when he was getting old and passing. So I just had to sit and listen to him moan all night. It lasted about 3 weeks. It was hard, and I felt sorry for him. I got almost no sleep that whole 3 weeks, but that's your doggy, that's your boy. And like I said, I'd pick him up and carry him outside, let him go to the bathroom, and then I'd wash him off and dry him off with a towel and bring him back in and tell him kids love him. And I'd just tell him, kids love you, just let go, boy, And, we're not supposed to be tortured and murdered, but in ancient times, that's what you'd have to do with your doggy when he is passing away. I mean, some people might show him mercy and maybe, whatchamacallit, what's the name of that? Chief with McMurphy on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, put him out of his misery. But, when you have a dog that long and he's able to help care and protect you and you're able to care and protect for him, I don't know how it'll work in the future when we have less of a toxic environment that causes more disease to rapidly shut us down. I don't know how beautiful aging can be in a healthy environment that does the natural process in a way that, we're intelligent and we understand what makes you sick. And like old Henry David Thoreau, when he would sit there at Walden, if you've ever read it. And he studies all the plants and everything. He can tell you what each plant does, what effect it has, what's this, that. Well, because it's intelligent. It's the right thing to do. You need to know, not just for yourself, but for others. Especially when you're dealing with people that have children, right? And so it's very, very, just very intelligent. And we just, we don't have that kind of time nowadays to be respectful and cognizant of our surroundings. And you're too busy going fishing, selling fish to the thing, selling it to the supermarket, doing this, playing basketball, playing football, playing soccer, playing hockey, selling, buying cars, insurance, healthcare, become a nurse, become a doctor, become a lawyer, if you can't be a rapper, if you can't be a singer, if you can't be a sex icon, it's just horrible, superficial, narcissistic, just blah. It's absolute drudgery as a human being. Can you imagine Jesus and Mary Magdalene putting on a Benjamin Netanyahu flag and getting in a Learjet and flying to the United States and getting a hotel room and getting all the finest restaurants and going to yell for these guys who have millions of dollars and that have people living in their own country that they'll murder over mythology, and going yay and sing their war song and cry, and they win, they get all, and during the game sit there and pray to Jesus. Like I told that lady at Lowe's, Jesus in the Bible never says, "Oh myself." Not once does Jesus say, "Oh myself." Yeah. I've been sick here, and I do say God, but it's hard, because you have the scientists, monitoring you to see how how well your brain is working when they're torturing you. It's like, oh, fuck you. Seriously, really? God dang, you're such a bunch of fucking pathetic piles of shit. It would be nice to say that you're better than that, but no, you're not, And trying to elongate your pathetic, abusive, manipulative, selfish life, it's like, wow, how Adolf Hitler of you. It's like, how bizarro of you. And they don't feel like they're being that. They feel like they're these great, cutting edge, super geniuses making life better for everybody. It's like, no, Jesus, with his life, gave us the capacity to make life better for everybody, help life be better for everybody. Saint Muhammad, people like that. You're just bizarroing your way through your Hitler classes, and it's wrong. Share, care, given accordance to need, built to last. Life's eternal and grace is infinite. Holy covenants, Batman. There you go. And it just, all this suffering, all this abuse, all this scientific research, to check my ego, to see what's wrong with my brain. I don't know. Why did the Vatican come up with cartoon tales to manipulate people with invention to feel powerful and have delusions of authority and tell them, here's how I'm going to get you in a magic place that doesn't exist in your head, but it does exist in your head, but it doesn't stay existing in your head. If you're fortunate enough to sit there and die in a way where you have all your family around and you're a Medici and you got 30 minutes to sit there and go, there's the pearly gates. Jesus loves me. I accepted him as my Lord and Savior right before I died. Okay, he doesn't care about all the women I raped and killed and all the men that I had murdered and oh no, he forgives me. Well, because his love is perfect. Well, then live it, you rotten son of a bitch. Not in a magic playground right here in the Tizzer Till, but live it here on earth, like Pascal said. Idiot, bloody idiot. Ah, they are, okay. I don't know if this is getting any better. Sure don't want to go to that hospital. But if it doesn't show any signs of getting stuff out and getting any better, we probably will. Then what? Well, then, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not required to, Jesus said, you're not required to die for them. And you can do this until you're going to be successful or die trying. I said, well, I'm going to die anyway. He said, there's your incentive, right? And so I'm not required to die for them, but I'm also not required to be sticked and fricked and studied and abused by inferior, inefficient, terrible, disgusting, ugly, vicious, narcissist, terrible people. Okay, I'm not required to be, have a life story that's in the end of the Bible, and then be abused by all the people that don't want to recognize the beauty of the lives of the people in the Bible that the stories are about. Okay, it's not my fault that a bunch of assholes like you turn the stories into comic book nonsense to manipulate people with bullshit so their invention would be more valuable than the truth of creation. That's not my fault. You don't blame an innocent person for what guilty people do with the stories of their lives. Okay, everybody knows. Like I tell people all the time, if I write down on a piece of paper that I'm gravity and all these arrogant, pretentious, obnoxious, disgusting, manipulative assholes agree to it, does that make me gravity? Well, then grow the fuck up and stop being such a fucking asshole. You cuss a lot. Well, yeah, this is vulgar and disgusting, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you how fucking proud I am of you and what a beautiful person you're being, because you're not. You don't tell people that you're proud of them and they're being beautiful when they're not. Okay, life's eternal and grace is infinite. If you want people to be beautiful and they want you to be proud of them, okay, they're going to need to be beautiful to do it. And it's wrong to tell people you're judgmental, you're selfish, you're superficial, all you think about is yourself, all you think, and then because, Patrice, come here, I do this and that. No, you're taking your money because you have money. And you're using it to do things. You're doing the same things my ex-wives did and all my in-laws and all that, because they get a job or money from connections with the people that are abusing me, because they have more money to do things to appear like they help people with money. You feel like you're a better person than me. You haven't done it. I don't. Yeah, I'm a dredge on society because I want everybody to apply the physics of the Lord's Prayer and live it, so we can't use money to manipulate people and make them feel like they're good or successful or powerful. Okay, and you explain it over and over again for 15 years, and they still argue with you that they're good and right and righteous and you're bad and evil. And really? Okay, I'm gravity. I'm gonna go get fuckers to agree to it. Damn it! Then I'm gonna land on you like you wouldn't believe. I'm coming down on you like a ton of bricks. Right? You're funny. It is funny. And then I'm photosynthesis, and you'll never be able to hide in the dark of your bullshit anymore. Tell yourself lies, but I'm photosynthesis. Deet, deet, deet. I already am photosynthesis. They try to hide in their lies. They're just lying to themselves to believe the bullshit they tell themselves. You know, you don't sit there and blame a kid for being abused by a bunch of male scientists, and you're going to abuse with them. And then he doesn't, he wasn't doing anything to abuse you. You know, he was just trying to, do what kids do. Like what happened with Danny and Patrick and then we found out one of Thea's kids was watching porn and he touched Danny. And so it's okay, well, that's good. We nipped it in the bud and that kind of stuff, hey, that ain't cool. That'll cause problems emotionally and psychologically for a kid. And that's what you got to do. But the thing about it is sexuality and experimenting sexuality when you're a kid and you start reaching puberty and stuff like that is normal. We're just so dysfunctional as human beings. We don't talk about it. It's the cults. It's a religious cults. That's bad. We don't do this. And it's like, sit them down and say, it's like holding the ocean back over burn, but here's what you do. But it's hard, Like I said, in Colville, man, I turned down more sex with more girls. And then it was hard because of my sisters, all guys are perverts and they made you feel like a pervert and you couldn't be in his, well, I was in his Cosby and did do my own laundry, but they made you feel like you're a pervert because you wanted to have sex with females. You definitely wanted to control yourself. You wanted the other person to be sexually attracted to you and you want it to be mutually beneficial and mutually pleasurable, right? So, and you're not trying to, you're not trying to be a pervert. But and you come from people that migrate and they live on islands and they live in small tribes and stuff, and it's only recent phenomenon that we had because of the defective genes in the gene pool and religious understanding of this without religious scientific evidence to explain it. Some do though. Yeah, no, like the whatchamacallit, what are those guys? The Navajo. But when you're being young and you're sexually reacting and experimenting, you're not trying to get the other person pregnant. You're just trying to hold the ocean back with a broom. And so you try to explain that to people. It's like you're going to hold an 11 and 12-year-old kid who's going through this hell responsible for that hell and then tell everybody what a damn demon he is and what a pervert he is. That's just horrible. And when he understands what's going on and he controls himself and he's a kid who has the worst scientists in the world that are jealous of him, study him, try to make him look and feel bad. To me, when I look at little Earl in Colville, I just go, wow, that's an amazing human being. Just like Ronnie and Mr. Ponce. God, that's an amazing, he's going to be the guy that does this. Having all these evil, jealous people have a virtual presence, that you can feel in your house, trying to get you to do whatever they want you to do, and he can self-correct. That's, wow. That's an amazing individual. He can be put into situations where the rest of you would feel like, you can do whatever you want and get away with everyone, like what they did in Sierra Vista. You can do this, you can get away with it. What am I getting away with? You're manipulating her mother, it's affecting her, and then I take advantage of that manipulation because I feel I'm owed it, because I've been such a good person controlling myself up until now. You fuckers are sick, man. And I knew that, and you can explain it to them, but they still won't acknowledge it and say, yeah, you're a really good guy. Thanks for teaching me to be a decent person and helping me stop myself from being such a disgusting person. They don't do that. They just keep testing you and abusing you and having you sit there and go, I think that this is it. They're probably going to physically kill me, but I don't think it's right for me to be tortured like this by a bunch of jealous perverts and have people feel the torture of the living Christ to this extent, especially with the Wi-Fi, and feel like it's something we all have to live with and accept because it's part of our reality, because it's just God doing it, which is complete horseshit. It's all the manipulators, the liars, and the abusers trying to feel powerful because they can. It's not because they can, it's because they do. what they're doing because they can is wrong, because it causes bad brain activity in all of us.